Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Whatever time you're watching me, a very warm welcome. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Amanda Ellis, in case you are finding me for the first time, because I suspect this video might draw some new people to this channel. Before we get to the subject matter of today, which is going to be a look at the wildfires and the smoke that is engulfing huge portions of Canada, Northern America. Obviously, New York hit the main news last night across the world because its air pollution levels have reached staggeringly high, dangerous levels. I'm going to be speaking on that. I'm going to be bringing through some spiritual insights, what I think we are meant to learn from it, also some practical guidance. I will also be doing a Q&A based on questions that you've sent in to me this morning via Facebook and Instagram towards the second half of this video. So do keep watching. I will try and timestamp some of the things that come up if I can. To be honest, since I sat down and decided to do this video this morning, there's just a deluge of things coming through from spirit, and by that I mean Archangel Metatron in particular, that he wants me to raise. So it might be a bit of a flood of information and energy. You might want to get a pen and paper to jot down some particular notes, because it's definitely going to be a video based on what we can do, that we are not powerless victims. We are sovereign, powerful beings of light that came here exactly for these times to help balance out our world. I'll get to that in a moment. I would just like to start though by saying a very big thank you to all of you that reached out to me, whether through comments on Facebook, Instagram, or here on YouTube, over the last 48 hours after I put out my cry from the heart, I suppose, on what turned out to be 6/6. Didn't realise it was 6/6 when I made that video, but actually that portal was a humdinger. And personally, I'm through it now with your help. Thank you. You completely restored my faith in humanity and what we're doing, that so many of you are getting the work that I'm trying to put out. And I really appreciate you. I can absolutely feel the weight of the most extraordinary, beautiful group and community behind me. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, I will just like to refer back to 6/6, because I do feel as though, so much has been unleashed since then. And although the wildfires, of course, have been burning for some months, and this is not a new event, I remember sitting down to record a similar video a few years ago for Australia. And indeed, wildfires are increasingly common in our world. The fact that I've sat down this morning is because we have got a peak of activity brought through not just by the 6/6 portal, but also via the Sagittarius fiery full moon that I talked about a week or so ago, or less than a week ago. So let's get to it. I'd just like to start by showing a couple of pictures for people that are not maybe in, parts of the world affected. This is a picture from New York last night, and the skies are this sort of orangey yellow stroke red colour. I think you did have a code red alert. On the same day that this is happening across New York, for example, of course the fires are ongoing in other parts of the world. A volcano also erupted in Hawaii, and I posted these photographs last night on my other social media of the lava flow. Now, my first impression when I saw the lava flow here, because really we're talking fire energy, and what does all this fire energy represent? What does it mean? What can we do about it? Is our planet warming? If so, how can we help ourselves, basically? So that's why I'm also bringing in the volcanoes and the lava. That to me looks very much like a cancer crab. Cancer, the sign of crab, which of course comes up next. The next astrological sign to come when we move past Gemini is Cancer. So I don't know whether this is a nod to the fact that Cancer season, which runs till July the 22nd, 23rd, because I'm on the cusp, some years, this is going to continue, or whether we have a window within the next month to try to help dampen things down. The other image I showed last night, I don't know whether this is coming across particularly well, but you can search these up on my other social media platforms. This was another picture of the flow from the volcano in Hawaii. This one I don't like the energy of. Many of you were saying it looks like a dragon, and I can see the dragon energy in it. But I can also see other things in it. There is definitely a face in the center, which looks quite menacing. There is a tail here that almost looks like the whip of, I felt, a devil's tail. Some of you are saying, well, it could, of course, also be a dragon's tail. But whatever this is, there is a lot that is being unleashed. I also have just found out that apparently there's a volcano in Mexico, and 3 million people have been ordered to evacuate there as well. And it's just all going off. I'm also being shown other parts of the world to be affected. I'm hearing France, probably not just France, but other parts of Europe this summer. Now, the interesting thing, of course, with the climate at the moment is that the elements seem to be behaving strangely, or in a what appears at human level an out of control way, although actually they're showing us their power. I live by the sea. We've had a couple of instances here where people have drowned and been swept out to sea, riptides forming. Very, very, very unusual for this area. It almost feels as though there is a menacing energy in certain parts of the coastline here. And I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but I'm going to tread very carefully if I go into the sea this summer. But so that's the waters of this world, and also large parts of Europe being flooded at the moment, or heavy rain, storms lashing into parts of Spain where normally it's sunny. And then we go to places like America, Canada, and they've got the excess of the fire energy. So, and I'm sure in other parts of the world as well, other things are going on. Please do let us know. But the question is, what do we do about it? And what is the meaning behind all of this? So as I say, I'm going to get into some very specific questions from some of you later. But these are just some generic things that I've heard from, that Metatron wants me to bring up this morning. I'd quite like to start actually with a quote from Tesla. And I've said this quote from Tesla before, Nikola Tesla. And he is said to have said, "If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world." So let's repeat that. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. Now, fire isn't quite electricity, but it's still the fire element that we're really dealing with. And because I'm going to be talking very specifically about elements here. Fire, energetically, can represent many things. It can be the most needed purifier. It can also be the destroyer. It can absolutely represent anger, aggression. We look around the world at the moment and we see so much of it. So much of it, it breaks my heart. I'm sure it breaks your heart as well. I'm sure you're seeing it in your communities, maybe that once were peaceful communities. The ascension ride that we're on at the moment, we're in a very critical phase. It is difficult. We will survive it, but we need to know how to get through this. And to that end, we have to understand why it's happening. The wars, the anger, the hatred in our world the intolerance, the prejudice, the judgment, the bitchiness, all of that nasty toxic energy builds up and builds up like a volcano within us, within Mother Earth, who tries to transmute it for us, and something has to give. Outbreaks of fires around our world, and I will come to this, are both man-made and also part of nature's cycles. It's not either or. But the first thing I'd like to say, and what I feel Tesla was trying to illustrate there, is that effectively what we have to do is realise that if we could only turn to love and a softer energy, we would dampen down the flames of hate. And the flames of hate result in the fires and the flames that we see externally. Don't switch off at this point because you want me to be talking about other things that might be affecting and causing these fires, because they are real too. We have quite a mess energetically on our hands. This is quite the storm. There are agitators within our world who absolutely are directing maybe weapons at Mother Earth to start fires. There are also, I was going to say idiots, but let me stay in my heart. I'm really feeling the energy of Jesus. I just want to say people starting fires, and then Jesus comes in and says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Juvenile souls, reckless souls, dark souls. That is true also. We have the energy a bit like, in terms of songs, I've probably mentioned this song before, Prodigy's Firestarter. I heard pyrotechnics earlier given to me by Metatron. There are two energies at play here. There is that energy of chaos and people deliberately, for whatever agenda or for whatever pleasure. Remember, somebody who's into starting fires and has an issue with that does so because it gives them pleasure. Okay? We have that, the fire starter type energy, mental chaos, and it's a reflection also of all this anger that is everywhere. Because anybody that is slightly imbalanced will tip over the edge during these days. That doesn't mean you. I'm talking about people who are prone to violence, people that haven't dealt with their stuff, people that are a ticking time bomb. So we have that. We also have, as I say, maybe weaponry that's being used. Can weather be controlled? Can weather be directed? Yes, it can. This has been known for a long period of time. But what I would remind you is that powers that were, as I call them, that may have the ability to manipulate weather, please remember that you too, as a powerful shaman, light worker, priestess, priest, whatever you want to call yourself, starseed, also has the ability to be able to control the weather. We've forgotten our power. So on one hand, we've got this horrible, toxic, chaotic mess. And yes, some of this is caused by them. Although remember, they are an aspect of us. We're all a reflection of each other. They are only able to do it because not enough of us have stepped into peace. But then on the other side of the equation, we have Mother Earth in all her beauty, who goes through cycles, who goes through periods where she has to purge. She has underneath her all the time the rhythm, the drumbeat, the plates that are moving, the friction that is caused by that, which can cause volcano, earthquake, tsunami. And we must never, ever forget that she has to have these cycles too. So there can be a natural aspect to what is happening now as well. But equally, man isn't caring for her in the way that she needs to. Into that would come forestry, the ability to be able to tend to our forests, to clear the land that needs to be cleared. I'm not an expert in this field, I just know it's a job to maintain forests, to create clear paths, whatever has to happen. That hasn't been happening. You can blame governments, you can bring it down to a single figure, whether it be Trudeau or Biden or any of them. But ultimately, is there a request from the ground for the environment to be a priority, for the care of our forests to be a priority, for the care of our air to be a priority? Now, I don't know whether this already happens, and obviously it's going to be different for all countries, but the analogy Metatron's giving me is, let's call it a government department that needs to be set up in every country that is dedicated to just caring for Mother Earth. What are her needs? Looking at the short term, looking at the long term, looking at water on our planet, where there is drought, where there is need, all of that. But what he's saying, and this would also apply to other government departments that are already there, for example, the military energy within governments, where we know there are vested interests. And let's not even get into that. That's not what Metatron's talking about. But what he's showing me is a department, a government department, that needs to have no vested interest when it comes to just looking after Mother Earth. I'm hearing the word caretakers need to be going into these positions of power. And I know as light workers we can become very cynical when it comes to politics, government. I get it. I completely get it. But there are people born at this time who, as I say, you call them light workers, starseed, rainbow children, whatever. They're here to become the caretakers. And these caretakers need to go into positions of government, particularly in relation to Mother Earth and her needs. So I'm seeing that very clearly. The first thing I heard from Spirit when I saw the pictures of the smoke and the cities engulfed is that it is a very powerful reminder. The biggest takeout from this video should be that it's a very powerful reminder that we all breathe the same air, that with the elements there are no borders. We are one earth. We are one people. It doesn't matter what colour you are, what race you are, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whatever sexuality you have, whatever gender you have, whatever's dividing us at this moment in time, whatever political party you vote for, whatever religion you follow, whatever belief system you have, we all breathe the same air. We also all drink the same water. Because even if water qualities are different in different parts of the world, it all goes back into the one energy, which is the sea. Just get my globe to hold. The blue planet. The blue planet that right now, that's looking from space in places like the red planet. I was given another song today by Metatron, and it's this. I'm just going to get the words up. I never knew that the words were quite so appropriate. I knew the song, but the words are really quite something. It's by Midnight Oil. It's called Beds Are Burning. It's a good song. I'm going to read you the lyrics. It says, out where the river broke, the bloodwood and the desert oak, Holden wrecks and boiling diesels, steam in 45 degrees. The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay the rent, to pay our share. The time has come, a fact's a fact, to say fair's fair, to pay our share. How can we dance when our earth is turning? How do we sleep while our beds are burning? How can we dance when our earth is turning? How do we sleep while our beds are burning? There's a few things in this. The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay the rent, to pay our share. And I don't want to get too much into politics here, but to pay the rent, to me, is a call from Spirit to leave, each of us, to leave the planet better than we found it. Now, you are not responsible, I am not responsible for the whole of this. You're just responsible for your little patch of earth that you either own, you're fond of, you have a particular affection for, that you visit, that you love. And I say that because not everybody owns their own little patch of land. But to leave that better than you found it. Many of us, for example, are growing our own vegetables this year. Obviously you can't if you're in the smoke, but hear me out. Why I'm bringing this up is it takes you back to the earth. It takes you back to the cycles of Mother Nature. The fact that we have to plant seeds, we have to nurture them, we have to water them every day, we have to tend to them. If they get rot, we have to deal with the rot. If they need pruning, we have to prune them. When it's time to harvest, we pick the harvest. And then we deal with the aftermath of the harvest. We do whatever is required for whatever plant we have. If the soil needs extra nutrients, we give it nutrients. We sweep our yard. We sweep the leaves. All of it, okay? We weed our patch. Not enough of us are doing that. We're divorced from nature. We are living in concrete cities where there might be a little patch of green and an oasis, but is that enough? One of you asked the question this morning with regards to New York. It was the first question that came in from one of you, and you just said, is it time to go? And I guess by that you're talking, is it time to flee New York? And the response I got from Metatron was this, which is that going forward, there isn't going to be a wrong or a right place to be. There might be safer places to be, okay? And obviously if you have family, you have children, take it away from New York, but other hotspots in our world, whether it be that you're living on a fault line, San Francisco, that type of energy, whether you're living in an area where it constantly floods every year, whether you're in an area where it constantly has wildfires every year. When he says there's no such thing as a wrong or right place, what he means is that, take somewhere like New York, there will always still be people there because the people that are meant to stay will stay and the people that are meant to leave will leave. We're back to that word caretakers again. There are caretakers in our cities. There are caretakers in our towns, our villages, even in the road in which we live. And many would not abandon their post. Okay? So that might not be a satisfactory answer to, is it time to leave? But there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach for everybody. Because at a soul level, say something is destined to happen in a particular place and a particular city. Say, for example, we're talking earthquakes and San Francisco, or we're talking something else. This is a hard pill to listen to maybe and to even deliver. But the truth is, from soul level, sometimes the soul, often, always, the soul signs up to go through what it wants to go through. And if it wants to experience tsunami, if it wants to experience earthquake, if it wants to experience fire, if it wants to experience mudslide, it will. It will. And it will stay. So these are much more complex questions than they first appear, okay? When you look at it from soul level. This is why we have to learn more and more what is right for us, what is right for you, what is right for your family. And the closer the connection you have to spirit, day in, day out, not deviating from that, especially when it gets hard, the more that you're going to hear the answers that you need in any one moment. And if you're meant to leave, you will hear leave. And if you're meant to stay, you will either hear stay or you'll just know. Okay? We'll get to more questions in a moment. But yeah, this thing about to pay the rent, that to me is what it is. It's like being the caretaker for our piece of land. Also seems to be an indigenous feel here with this song choice. The time has come, a fact's a fact, it belongs to them, let's give it back. Yes, I've deliberately put my beautiful painting of my indigenous elder. That is actually the red card from the Archangel Metatron Oracle deck that I did with Jane a few years back now. And yeah, he's there as a master teacher for all of us. He belongs to all of us. He is of the earth that belongs to all of us. And that there is a time, and it is now, where we have to turn back to the teachings of the elders. That doesn't mean that we then close our ears to other voices. It just means that the indigenous voice has been silenced, not been allowed to speak, and the time is coming when it's needed. So, yeah, that is that. Let me just look at my notes. I'd like at this point, before I go to Q&As, to say two other things. Well, actually, one question did come in. I will answer this now. Somebody said, what can we do short and long term? I'd like to come back to this. But the long term, I heard straight away Metatron say, and again, this is a triggering answer, okay? I'm just going to tell you. I heard him say, step out of the victim consciousness. What can we do short and long term? What he meant by that is there is an energy out there, and I understand why it's there, and I sometimes go into it myself, which is they are doing this to us. They are destroying our world. Whether you believe it's government manipulation, it's an agenda from on high, it is whoever it is, okay? Choosing my words carefully. Whoever the baddie in the room is, who is doing this to us, who is destroying our world, who is creating these fires, these floods, manipulating the weather, whatever. When we really go into that energy, it makes us victims. It makes us powerless victims. They are doing it to us. They're doing it to our world. On a bad day, it's all just going to hell. You know, it's just, what are we, you know, it's just a very black, dark future. It's because we're in victim consciousness. We have to rise. I don't even think it's long term. I think short term, we have to rise quickly out of victim consciousness, which is us and them. And remember, they're only there because not enough of us, I've just said this earlier, not enough of us has stepped into our power and our sovereignty. It's the diamond. The diamond grows brighter through friction, through abrasion, through difficulty. So that's one thing I heard. We're going to get to what can we practically do to help. I wanted at this moment just to raise the thing which probably has already been said in the comments. I imagine a lot of people have come straight to my video and already just have written this without even watching it. Fair enough. But it's the whole debate about, is what's happening on our planet now I've sort of covered this, but is it, I don't know if I can say these two words without getting censored. Is it climate, CHANGE? God, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Is it CC? I'm going to call it from now on. Is it CC? Or is it just a natural cycle? It's just Mother Earth doing what she's always done. Whatever cycle you think she's in, whatever cycle you think the sun is in, whatever cycle you think the poles are in, it's just a natural cycle. Or is it something that we are doing and it is actually CC? My teachings recently have all been about the need for us to listen to each other. I'm on record for quite a few years, I know I've said this quite a few times, that I saw a day coming when we would have to put our differences down. On all things, really, on many things. Because we would face a crisis where we would have to come together and tackle it together. And I always felt it would be Mother Earth that would teach us this. I think the days are coming closer that we're getting to where I was seeing. And if you just look, take a step back and breathe and look at it from a higher perspective, have we ever known the world so divided, so separated, whether it's via the big subjects of our day, politics, 3D, 5D, us, them, good, bad, whatever you want to call it. Have we ever known it so bad as it is now, so divided? I don't think we have. And so would not the Great Mother come at this moment and say, stop. My children, just stop. I'm going to have to. I'm hearing the words bring you to your knees, but not from a place of the cruel mother, from the place of the mother that wants to save us from ourselves. And this includes the fighting over what is even causing these things. Because the truth is, there's probably truths in both camps. There are truths in both camps. We need to learn to listen to each other. Because actually, the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what you believe, whether you believe this is CC, or whether you believe this is man-made and manipulated. The end result is the same. The end result is the same, and we're going to have to deal with it. And this is the energy of the mother, the tough love. I will save you from yourselves. And I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of CC, and I also think it's a bit of man-made. There was an interview that went up on YouTube 2 days ago, which I found interesting. It was after my little meltdown on 6/6, where I just felt like, we're not going to get this. It was just a moment of Gethsemane type energy. I'm through it now. We will get through it. We will do this. You have to have Gethsemane moments on your path. But it was after that, there was an interview with Jordan Peterson, I know, divisive figure, some of you like him, some of you don't, and RFK Jr., some of you like him, some of you don't. He's definitely a man of the moment. They're both men of the moment in many ways. But why I'm bringing this up is that they both passionately disagree on various subjects. They also agree on some. But one of the things that they don't agree on is climate. And they sat down and had a very intelligent, articulate debate with each other. They didn't throw their toys out of the pram. They didn't insult each other. They had ears that were open to listen to each other. That's sort of the template we need to get to. And I'm now being shown by Spirit, or both of us, when I say both of us, I'm talking about both sides, rolling up their sleeves and just saying, okay, let's tackle this. Let's tackle this. Let's tackle the reality that's in front of our faces. Let's tackle the fire that's outside our door. Let's tackle the smoke that's inside my house. Let's tackle the stream that is dried up in my hometown. Let's tackle the raging waters, etc. Let's tackle the air that we can't breathe. What are we going to do about it? And the middle way will always be the better way. Is there a timeline where powers that were want to bring in more draconian measures because of their own agenda to capitalise on this crisis? Absolutely yes. Are there also other people on the other side of the camp that we should be listening to more that are trying to bring an energy of understanding, reconciliation, rolling up the sleeves? These people are the thankless warriors. They don't get any thanks for it. They just get on with it. They get on with helping their neighbour who is being affected by the smoke, the waters, whatever. And I tell you what, those people will often, not always, but they'll often be the one that you wouldn't necessarily agree with regards to politics, religion, gender, sexuality, or anything else. I'm seeing days coming where the one that comes to rescue you, yes, it's yourself, but I'm talking physical rescue. I'm being shown boats and, people turning up to rescue. It's already happening. Rescue you from your street. You're up on, I'm not saying everyone's going to go through this, but some are. You're on your roof. You're waiting for help. We've seen the pictures. We know it's happening. The person that drives the boat, the person that's bothered to go down the street to try and find if somebody needs help, is probably the person that in normal day-to-day life you would turn your back to. And we will learn from it. We will learn from these experiences. That's why the Great Mother is so wise. She's bringing her children back to each other. Okay? We will put down our differences to tackle what needs to be tackled, whether we like it or not. Now, some of us have chosen already to do this work, and we've put our hands up and we've said, I will be that helper. I will be that helper, whether it's energetic help, whether it's physical, practical help. Others are just going to find that I don't even feel that they're going to be forced to. I just think, put it this way, I'm being shown the analogy of wartime. So going back to something like the Second World War, the Blitz in London, people pulled together. I'm sure people pulled together in other parts of the world as well. Sometimes the toughest times in our world create the biggest movements of people coming back to each other, of finding each other again, of sitting round the table with each other again. Okay? So all of that's going to going on as well. You see, going back to the 6-6 portal, what did it actually add up to? Let me just do the full numerology of it. So it was 6-6 in 2023. So 7... Hold on a minute. I've gone brain dead, guys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12... 19. Is that right? It comes to a 1. Yeah, it comes to a 19, 10, 1. 1 is the 1. Okay, yeah, 1 is linked into the sun. We're going back to the sun again. We're also in times of big solar flares, aren't we? Lots of solar activity going on. But going back to that 6-6 energy portal, let me pull a card on it, because what I felt where we were at was, this was a choice point. It felt like a choice point. It felt like a choice point for me in my personal life. Okay, that video I put up was definitely a genuine cry where I thought, I always was going to carry on. I'm not a quitter. I always will carry on. But at the moment when I made that, it was completely 100% genuine. It's like, I just don't know if this is worth it. What am I achieving here? Is it time to walk away? I wasn't ever going to. But multiply that by millions of people in different ways. There was a moment, it was like a choice point moment. And then all this fire, all this smoke Because certainly New York, you know, it starts to get engulfed pretty soon after the 6-6 portal. Show me a card, please, for the energy of the 6-6 portal. And yeah, I know I'm reading retrospectively, but remember, time is not linear. Time is not linear. This portal's still open. We have, look at that. Pachamama, Mother Earth. Look at all that fire. Let me just read you the message that goes with this card. This is the, can't remember what deck it is, but it's this one. It's the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So card number 40. So what was 6-6 linked into? This one. Pachamama, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, represents the unconditional love that the earth has for all her children, including the stones, the plants, the animals, and the humans. She is the goddess of earth, also known as Gaia, who pervades all creation on our planet. Thanks to her, our timeless soul can experience life in a biological body. The joy and the pain we taste during our brief time here are invitations to discover the boundless love of her. It says and it's interesting because I know these fires have been going on everywhere, but it's the Big Apple, it's New York that has brought me to talk to you today. Not because I think New York is more important than Ottawa or anywhere else that's affected. It's because it hit the news yesterday. Don't get triggered by that if you're in different parts of the world. Oh, people are only waking up because it's in New York. Remember the energy of critical mass. When enough people know about something, that's when you can change things, okay? So the Big Apple in smoke, this is what it says in terms of the medicine Mother Earth wants to give. It says, you still believe that you have been cast out of the Garden of Eden. Where was the apple? It was in the Garden of Eden. You still believe that you have been cast out of the Garden of Eden, that you are motherless and you are homeless. You suppose that you need to work very hard to survive or to thrive. It's time to stop suffering, to let go of that old myth and realise that you were given the garden to rejoice in and to become its steward. What was I saying about caretaker? To become its steward. Your melancholy is really a longing to return to the heart of Mother Earth. Listen deeply to the Mother who is always there for you. Walk in beauty and honour all life. You see, the energy of smoke is, even though it's horrendous for those of you that are going through this at the moment, smoke is also, well, think about smudging. It's like, it's like it's being saged, is what I'm wanting to say. Again, that is at a metaphysical level. I did actually pull the Lilith card earlier, and I wondered whether there was something here with regards to Lilith and Mother Earth as well. And I think there is, because again, she was the one cast out of Eden, wasn't she? And she wants to return. For us to be able to return, we have to be able to unite with all aspects of who we are. Our wildness, our peacefulness, all of it. Going back to the first thing I said in this video, this out of control fire energy it's our out of control energy that we haven't been able to channel and process. Now I looked up what Doreen years ago, good old Doreen, wrote about Pele, the fire goddess that rules the Hawaiian volcanoes. Remember I showed you the pictures of the volcano erupting in Hawaii at the moment. And this is interesting. It says, where does it say it? All right, here we go. Pele is a powerful yet trustworthy goddess. This is about harnessing the fire energy. Pele is a powerful yet trustworthy goddess who helps us tap into our passions and true heart desires. Are we living as a species from our heart? Are we doing what our heart desires? Or are we trapped in some sort of matrix where we go to work, we pay the bills, We don't we don't even respect our job. Maybe we hate our job. We hate our boss. We hate our work. We're not doing what we want to do because we're fearful of stepping into it because that won't pay the bills. So we're in this scarcity mindset. I know it's hard to break out of the matrix, but that's just what I'm feeling reading these words. It says in Kona, Dorian says, she told me, this is a quote from Pele, we each have burning fire within us. Fire that when properly channeled, Kundalini quartz, we each have burning fire within us. Fire that when properly channeled fuels us with passion and a sense of purpose. If we deny ourselves as... My camera got too hot. Yes, I can see the symbolism of that. I've had to open the window, so there might be a bit of background noise, but it's quite warm here as well. Let me reread, because this is an important message in terms of fire energy within us. Okay, let's go from the start. We each have burning fire within us. Fire that when properly channeled fuels us with passion and a sense of purpose. If we deny ourselves as we follow our desires and passions, we may erupt in a volcano of fury. Even then, however, we can turn our anger and indignation into creative forms of beauty, much like when my lava flow hardens and turns to rock, allowing new soil and extensions of my island to be formed. Isn't that beautiful? So it's recognizing the innate fire that we all have within us. It's asking us, how do we channel it? Do we even notice it? Do we allow it just to erupt like the volcano in fury? Or are we able to turn our anger and our indignation into some form of creative beauty? Doesn't, of course, have to be creative beauty. You could turn it into fuel that helps you to run or to swim or anything else, to be honest. But we also, the Kundalini energy within us, is it blocked? Is it stagnant? What do you do with your sexual energy? What do you do with your fire energy? Asking for it to be channeled in the most efficient way possible. So, I really wanted to bring the Pele's energy in. Okay, let's now go to some questions. I think I've said everything that I've got there on my notes. Yeah. I'm going to open up my laptop and see what comments are coming in. Okay. Also at this point, it's important just to say, of course, we're sending our prayers to the animals. And one of the questions I know actually, which I think I'm going to start with, is linked into the elements. How can the elements help us at this time? Right, let's just get to the questions. Okay, I've got quite a few here. Somebody said, looks like the smoke is headed towards Europe. Yeah, exactly, because somebody says, yes, but will it affect Europe? It's the point I made earlier that we all share the same air. So even if it's slightly diluted by the time it gets here, yes, it will. The other thing about all of this, and again, this is just something for us to think about, is human nature. When we have an issue, we just want to push it away onto something else. But we have to be very careful when we are asking for this to dissipate, that we're not just pushing it onto our neighbour, Go to that state, go there, so we can have our clear air. That isn't going to help, is it? Because that's just pushing the problem further down the road. So we're asking the elements to come in here. Somebody says, Metatron, are the fires a means of massive transmutation? I think I was sort of getting the answer to that as being yes. That's what I was trying to say in terms of smudging. Maybe didn't articulate it as well as I could. I'm just going to use the flame spray, the Metatron connection spray, see if there's anything else here. Oh, the fire as a means of massive transmutation. Okay, I'm excuse me, I'm being shown a flat land. Could be prairies, which is an American term, so it could be America that I'm seeing here. Doesn't have to just be America, but I think it might be. And I'm seeing bubbling orange fiery light on the surface of the land. Actually, it looks like lava now. Okay, doesn't mean that there's going to be a volcano in the middle of USA, although I realise what I'm saying by saying that. I don't think that's what I'm saying or seeing, but I'm just seeing like creeping lava. What he's showing me is creeping lava. The tendrils of lava creeping into new areas. And he's saying you need to understand the properties of lava. Because the question was about transmutation. It's what Pele was just saying in that quote that I just read out, which is that ultimately the fire, whether it be via volcano, whether it be from forest fire, brings new growth, and it does bring new life. The lava forms new land, and very much like what came through when I was looking at Australia a few years ago, I'm being shown the forests that do bounce back. Mother Nature always comes back much quicker than we realise. So when we see complete destruction of our forest home, of areas that we love, we must remember the cycle of existence, he's saying. We must not just focus on the burnt embers and the charred wood and the stumps that are left and the animals that have gone. They may have chosen at soul level to also, they have souls, we're being reminded. They also, I know this is difficult to hear, but I've said it for us, that we might choose as a soul contract to go through these things, so may animals. But everything bounces back. I'm seeing hedgehogs for some reason. I'm being shown a hedgehog. Does a hedgehog have a way of being able to survive fire? I'm feeling maybe they do, or I don't know. I'm just being shown the hedgehog for some reason. Maybe you can answer me on what that means. But I'm being shown that yes, it is transmutation at one level. Somebody says, "Dear Archangel Metatron, is there a link between New York City and Ukraine at this time? If yes, what is it and what is the spiritual significance?" I think I've answered that, because Ukraine is one of the biggest wars at the moment. It's one of the hot spots in our world. It is another form of volcano, for want of a better word. It doesn't look like a volcano, but it is. It's an uprising of fire and rage and hatred and the nastiness of war, darkness. You're trying to link it very specifically between New York City and Ukraine, but I think that is taking it too literally, because the smoke isn't just in New York City, the smoke is in many other parts of America and Canada as well. I think it's a wider issue linked into us remembering the correlation between fire can be about anger and war. It's the Mars energy, and we need to deal with the wars within ourselves, the wars we have with each other. Everything has a consequence, Metatron is saying. We think that it doesn't. We think it doesn't matter that we hate our brother or our sister, that we say this, we say that we act in ways that are hateful. It all matters, he's saying. Everything is noted. Everything, he's saying, imagine if your words or your actions of hate were like a match that was being struck to light the straw that sets ablaze the field, the crop. That's what he's wanting us to keep in our mind, that every time we speak with forked tongue, every time we do something against our brother or our sister, wherever they are around the world, that what we're doing is I'm just being shown that the match being struck on the box. We're just striking the match, we're lighting the flame, and what we're actually doing is we're tossing it into the air, and we don't care where it goes, and we don't care about the implications of what we've said or what we've done to anybody. We don't care. We've got it out of ourselves. We feel a bit better. There is always consequences to everything that we do. And all of these matches create the huge bonfire that we now see in our world. Have some people got bigger torches than others? Absolutely, yes. Are some of these torches held by organisations with agendas? Absolutely, yes. But we are not helping to put the flames out. We are just helping to create a bigger and bigger bonfire. A bonfire of our own vanities, a bonfire of our own ego. And I'm seeing now within this great big bonfire, there's this little hedgehog. He's right in the middle of it. He's trying to protect himself with all of his, like spikes and everything. I'm going to have to look up the spiritual significance of hedgehog. Let me do that now, because it's coming through very, very strongly. Let's see what it says. Hedgehog. Spiritual meaning of hedgehog. The animal has an intense symbolic connection with motherhood, inner peace and pure happiness. Okay. Somebody else says, we had this smoke, these fires in Melbourne early in 2020. It made us realise how much we take clean, fresh air for granted. It also brought the relevance of CC to us, city dwellers. Fire is part of the Australian bush, but is this the same in Canada? Metatron, are these fires due to a shift in the magnetic poles? Appreciating fresh air. Yeah, if you've been following me for a number of years, you know that the air elemental, all the sprays that I do, I haven't even put it out on my grid. I mean, we're still in this energy that somehow air isn't important. The air that we breathe isn't important. This was the least popular spray. Cancel, clear, delete. It's doing a bit better now, but this ambivalence towards our air. Clean air, clean water, these are basics that we require. Are these fires due for shift in the magnetic poles? I've done a video on the pole shift. Well, I'm seeing, I don't know whether the answer is yes or no, to be honest, but what I'm being shown is, it's like the mast on a ship. And imagine that the ship is us, it's our planet. And the mast is just, what keeps us where we are in terms of our positions, whether we're north, south, whatever. I'm just seeing the mast tipping this way. It's slowly though, and this is what I've said before in my pole shift video, it's like slowly tipping to the right, if that makes any sense at all. That's what I'm being shown there. Okay, I'm also hearing that fires may be breaking out this year in parts of the world where they don't normally get them. I'm also hearing Greece. I mean, I'm sure Greece do get fires, but I'm hearing Greece. Let me carry on. I want to go quickly through these questions. So if I get sort of a bit stuck or it's not immediate, I'm going to carry on. Is the narrative around these fires true? Are these fires going to be used to justify greater control of people and a larger agenda? One timeline, yes, that is a potentiality. But it's what I've said, we have to remember we're not powerless victims, that we can rise up to challenge that. And if we don't challenge it, absolutely we can be walked all over. So I think what's going to happen is we're just going to have to find a natural rhythm, compromise maybe. There'll be some things that we say yes to, other things we say no, we're not doing that, we're not giving that up. But ultimately, we're all going to have to try to be doing a little bit more. We are the caretakers. But the thing is, you see that everything keeps shifting all the time, doesn't it? In terms of what the guidance is. In my country, I can't remember what year we're supposed to all have electric cars. It's not that far off. But now there's stuff coming out about, electric cars actually not being particularly great for the environment. Rowan Atkinson said something this week about electric cars. Yeah, Mr. Bean, of all people, Mr. Bean making a lot of sense. Let's see if I can just quickly pull up what he said about electric cars. Well, straight away, mainstream media have jumped on him and says that he's wrong about electric cars. He says he felt duped by electric cars. He's entitled to his opinion. He says, increasingly, I feel a little duped. When you start to drill into the facts, electric motoring doesn't seem to be quite the environmental panacea it is claimed to be. Anyway, let's not get into that argument. Let's keep moving on. Is Mother Gaia showing us that we, her children, in fact, are gasping for air ourselves, and that we need to become aware of our own freedom to breathe and claim our true mastership in our lives? Absolutely, Maria. Yes, I completely think that is the case. And it's what I've hopefully been trying to convey in this video. It's literally like, and also from an ascension perspective, it's like humanity feels like it's drowning at the moment. And by that, I'm talking about just not being able to cope, being overwhelmed. So much is changing. So much is happening. So much of the world just, I don't understand. I mean, at my age, I look at the world sometimes, I just don't understand it anymore. It's like, I can't say this, I can't do that. I won't be able to breathe soon. That's what I was just about to say. I won't be able to breathe soon without somebody having an issue with it. Sort of where we are. We have to allow each other room to breathe. We have to allow each other room to be, whilst being polite and respectful and all the rest of it. So yeah, I agree with that comment. A lot of questions about, is this a result of manipulation or Mother Nature fighting back? It's both. I think I've said that quite clearly. Hi Amanda, I had a vision on healing the crystal grid in the earth, in our houses and in the ore of the earth. Needs to be done by a lot of people. This is needed to strengthen the shield of Gaia. Absolutely. We can all do our bit. We can all do our bit. Let's see what I can get on that. Okay. What can we do, Metatron, to help ourselves? The first thing I'm hearing Metatron say, people don't like it when he gives these sort of messages, but I just have to pass them on. He says, regulate your behaviour. Because you see, this is it. I mean, I know as light workers, I've got one here. You might not be able to see it. It's out of camera. I've set my little grid up, okay? And these are powerful. These can absolutely help, because what you're doing is you are putting your focus onto a problem. The problem today is the imbalance with Mother Earth and the fires. We're drawing attention to it. We are asking for prayers to help steer us through this difficult passage for our world at the moment. So absolutely, I've got my sprays, I've got the elemental sprays, I've got crystals, I've got my flowers that represent Mother Nature, I've got my little fairy, okay? I've got my feather. I've got a candle lit. It's all there with intention. Intention is absolutely vital and it's important. All of it is relevant. Sending prayers, doing this type of thing, going out into nature, planting Platonic solids. I'll tell you about that in a moment. All of it's important. But Metatron is also reminding us that the most important thing is our behaviour, is walking the talk. That's why I was so upset on the 6th. That's what it was all about. And it was almost like the energy of the mother coming through me, which is just like I was feeling in that moment. It was just like despairing of Mother Earth and her children. Not you, just generally, you know? It's just like, we're never going to get this. We're never going to get this. But we will and we can, one person at a time. And it starts with me and it starts with you. And how many times have we heard that? So the most important thing we can do is our behaviour, regulate our behaviour, channel our fire in a constructive, positive way, be there for each other, help each other, etc. But yeah, absolutely, grids and things like that can help as well. Of course, prayers can help. Absolutely, I believe that we can help to, I don't want to say manipulate weather because that's a negative, rebalance and harmonise, whilst always knowing that if Mother Earth wishes to have a purge, she has to be allowed to. You can't stop it. You know, you can't stop that. You can't stop a volcano if it needs to release. So it's a tricky one, that. Just want to say something about the Platonic solids. Those of you that have done the training courses with me know what the Platonic solids are. They're called the 5 building blocks of creation, of life. They are geometric shapes. Well, they're geometric energies, really. And those of you that work with the Platonic solids, I'll just quickly say, we have the hexahedron, the cube. We have the icosahedron. We have the tetrahedron. We have the octahedron, which is the heart. And we have the dodecahedron, which is connected to the higher chakras and above. But also they all relate to different elements. So hexahedron links to earth, icosahedron links to water, tetrahedron links to fire, octahedron links to air. And those of you that already work with them, what you can do is you can plant a specific Platonic solid structure into Mother Earth. So maybe where there is a lot of fire, you could visualize, and you can also ask the elements to bring down the icosahedron. So the icosahedron is the water element. And you could imagine that going into the ground there, which is parched and dry and smoky and acrid and all the rest of it. And maybe you can fill that icosahedron with blues and greens and aquas and just then feel the energy rippling out. And maybe we'll do that now for all of the cities in the world that need it. Absolutely putting an octahedron down into the centre in New York, the Big Apple. I'm being shown the 1111 memorial site, which I know does have water, doesn't it? So that's like a focal point of the city. I've visited it myself. And I'm just feeling as though if we dropped an octahedron energy down into the water there, that's going to ripple out and help cool down the city. The Platonic solid that links into air is the octahedron. Let me just show you what that looks like from my oracle deck, because this is what I'm being shown. So thinking about the air, and as I say, I'm just using New York as an example, but there's plenty of other places. Imagine the birds carrying that shape through the skyline, through the air, in your city, in your town. And in that octahedron, that is the shape that the bird's carrying, you have fresh air. So it's like the bird with the octahedron is bringing in pockets of fresh air that help to disseminate, is that the right word? The nanoparticles in the air, the contamination in the air, the toxicity into the air. It's a bit like, you know, with the wildfires, when you see the aeroplanes and they drop the sandbags, whatever it is, full of air, full of water. this is what the bird is doing. It's dropping down these octahedrons of pure, fresh air. You can also ask that bird to be over your house, over your office, over your town, obviously, but make it very specific as well, okay? So it's like working with that. And I'll just show you the energy of water. That's the icosahedron, okay? And that's in the energy of water. So again, planting that into the waters of the world, planting that shape with all of its watery energy into an area that is very parched. Somebody said, Daniela, air, fire, water, earth in turmoil all over the world. What's the message? It's what I've said. It's showing that we're in chaos. It's showing us that we're in a mess. The micro is always the same. The micro and the macro are reflections of each other. Okay, this is where, as a community, it's not closing down discussions about various people, departments that might also be manipulating it. Okay, that is a fact, but we just work on what we can work on. The more we work on ourselves, these departments, these agendas just crumble. It's as simple as that. If we can turn the tide and we can to love, yeah, I know that sounds hippy dippy, but it's the truth. It's the biggest weapon we've got. We can win this battle, and we will win it. We've already won it, to be perfectly honest, in a different timeline. It's just we're having to go through it now. Somebody says, I'm in New York City and the air quality is indeed bad. I worry about the animals and plants out there, sending prayers and healing energy to all. Right, now, one thing, this is energetic protection, guys. If it was me going out, I probably wouldn't be going out onto the streets of New York at the moment in that energy. I wouldn't want to be breathing it in, but you might have to. Maybe you've got to get to hospital, or you've got to visit your mother, or whatever it is. You've got to get to work. Wear the mask, okay? No doubt about it, wear the mask. But equally, it's not going to protect you completely. I'm being shown another type of energetic mask in addition to a physical mask for such times as this, when the smoke is acrid, when you're breathing in acrid air. I mean, I don't know how many more pieces of protection we can get on us, to be honest, because if you saw my June video, you know I already had told us, I've constantly told you to wear the armour of God, which is important. So you must be doing that. I'm just reaching for my little reminder of what the armour of God is, but I'm going to put another piece of armour on today. So the helmet of God is the armour of God is the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit, feet that walk in peace. I've channeled goggles of God before as well, you know, to protect our eyes. So imagining goggles of God or a visor, if that makes more sense, energetically on your eyes. But actually it's more than that. I'm actually being shown something that looks a bit like a gas mask, but I don't want to scare you with that imagery. I want you to see it more as something that is just energetic. It's only temporary. Try and make it as friendly as you can. Metatron is showing me a gas mask like you get in the Second World War, but it's like he says, I'm being shown it with stickers on it, you know, like flower power stickers, okay? So don't get into fear in terms of visualizing something like that. Just make it pretty, you know, flower power stickers all over it. It's just energetic, because the thing about it is, from memory, didn't they have to strap it onto the back of their head, and it covered all of this. It helped them to breathe, helped them to survive. I would actually be putting something like that on when I'm physically going out. You might think that sounds extreme. I don't think it's extreme. When I go into an airport, for example, or anywhere, you know, take away these problems right now in our world, just people and energies, I always surround myself in a Merkaba. Okay, so this is just another thing, which you could also do that. You could imagine yourself, obviously, and invoke your Merkaba. But for the different causes, for different horses, some people might prefer this method that I'm showing you. Armour of God, waders on, which I channeled through in June, okay? But now we've got like this gas mask type thing with all its flower power stickers. or a visor or goggles energetically as well. The other thing you can also do for those people that are affected at the moment is breath work. So obviously this is when you're inside, close your, I've got wooden shutters in my home, which are brilliant. We had them put in the winter, and he did say to me they're going to be great in summer because they keep all the heat out, and they are good. But obviously not everybody can put those into their home, but keep your windows closed isn't obvious. But equally then when you're in your home, whether it's a purifying, an air purifier, this is going forward. You can't necessarily get this right now, but I'm talking going forward. These are things we have to have in our home. Air purifying plants. So I did get a list for you of air purifying plants. I think I looked for that earlier. Let me just get that up on screen again. 8. Okay. Yeah, here we go. I'm sure it's different for different parts of the world, but the ones that I saw straight away that many of us have in our home anyway, the peace lily is one that comes up. Something called the Bamberton daisy, English ivy, snake plant or mother-in-law's tongue, very good. Chrysanthemum, spider plant is brilliant. Aloe vera, broad lady palm, dragon tree, weeping fig, Chinese evergreen, devil's ivy or pothos, I think it's called, Kentia palm, rubber plants, flamingo lily. There's loads of them. I'll put the link below. It's going to be a link. It's from a magazine called Country Living, just happened to be the one that I found, but that's 20 plants in there as an example. But yeah, going back to breath work, especially if you've been outside, so you can just do an exercise where you are literally visualizing, even if it doesn't feel particularly clean air, that you are breathing in clean air. Remember, intention is important. Remember, you can transmute everything as well. My work that I've done before on 5G technology, and I've also said this about chemtrails, is I believe we can transmute things as well. You have the power to be able to do that. So put it this way, if you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm breathing in this toxic air, I'm breathing in this toxic air, the nanoparticles are going into my lungs, they're going into my organs, oh my God, it's like you are multiplying the dangers 1,000-fold because you are creating it, you're breathing it, you're creating it, an even worse problem. If you can stay calm and try to breathe and imagine that the breath is pure, that you have a filter system within your nostrils. In fact, you do, Metatron's saying you have hairs in your nostrils. Not very nice, not the type of thing we normally think about, but you do. You have hairs in your nostrils for this reason. He's saying imagine the hairs within the nose being super sensitive right now and being super effective. Blow your nose as much as you can if you've been out, even if you feel you don't need to blow your nose, because even if nothing comes out, when you're breathing your nose, you're getting some of it out. But also give thanks to the hairs within your nostrils, literally, that are acting like these purifiers. I'm just seeing them the whole time, working over time. So that if you do have to go out and you're breathing something in, it's not actually going further down into the lungs, okay? It's like he's reminding that you have a natural filter system within your body. You also have a filter system, which is your skin, which eliminates. Drink lots of water, because again, your kidneys are good at eliminating toxins from the body. Keep moving. The worst thing you can do is, for example, to go out, breathe it all in, sit down like a pudding in front of the TV, not move, not drink anything. You keep everything moving, okay? Keep everything moving. Keep the digestive process moving. Keep water flowing through your body. Keep breathing deeply, but it's the intention, breathing it out, washing frequently as well, washing the hands, washing the face. To be honest, it's like, I know it's not the same thing, of course it's not the same thing, but those people that suffer from hay fever know that if you put a little dab of Vaseline here, just on your nose there, the entrance to your nostrils, It can help, it can stop pollen from going up your nose. So I'm also being shown that this isn't pollen, this is, I mean, I know nanoparticles are tiny, tiny things, but again, intention. The more that you can do to help yourself and make yourself feel as though you're helping yourself, you're going to be stepping into sovereignty rather than victimhood. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Let's go back to the questions. Somebody says, please ask Metatron for methods for protecting oneself from the smoke and what the powers that were are accomplishing through this. For example, more fear. Okay, so that's one side of the equation. Remember, we've got both the CC debate and we've also got man-made. So if we're into what the powers that were are that are creating this, that aspect of it is absolutely more fear. Now, one of you said, well, what are they trying to cover up? What is the smoke screen? The smoke screen is that not enough of us have been doing the work, actually, I want to say. I might come back to that question in a moment. Somebody says, I'm in Pennsylvania, not as bad as New York, but still the air is horrible and burns the throat. Hoping it blows through soon for everyone. Yeah. The throat. Okay, I'm just wondering what we can do with the throat. So the nostrils we've done, the hairs in your nostrils, the Vaseline here. You've got your energetic gas mask on. But I'm also being told, I don't like the phrase, I don't like the reference back to the war, because it's almost like this is the flower power thing is very important, to have flowers on this contraption that you're energetically putting around you as well. And to know that you're in control of taking it off. It's not being put on you, you're in control of taking it off. It just whips off when you need it whipped off. You just hang it on a hanger by your door, you put it on when you go out, you rinse it off energetically as well when you come back in, okay? You rinse it off before you put it back on again as well. But I'm just wondering what we can do with the throat now. Let me go back to Metatron. Is there anything specific to the throat when it catches on the back of the throat? Okay. Again, this is energetic. It's easy to shoot me down for these type of techniques, which people often do, because they say, oh, that's not going to make any difference. Yes, it can, okay? I'm speaking to the people that want to hear this. I'm hearing an energetic lozenge, okay? So you know, like when you have a sore throat and you take a Strepsil or something and it makes it feel a bit better and it soothes your throat. If you come back and you're feeling that irritation in your throat, this is a healing technique, basically. You ask Metatron for the healing lozenge, okay? And just stick your tongue out and let him put it onto the tongue and then let it melt, okay? And feel as the energy flows around the tongue and flows down the throat, okay? And what the lozenge does is it's clearing, it's cleaning, it's transmuting. So, and I'm actually feeling here, this area of the body, which is the higher heart. It's interesting, we were talking about this a couple of videos back. It's like nothing can get past here, okay? So we deal with it from here to here. It doesn't get into the heart energy, it doesn't get into the lungs. It's cleaned before then. I think some of you might have phlegm that you need to cough up as well. If you do that, get it out of the body as much as you can. But yeah, I'm just seeing this energetic lozenge, and it is galactic, I'm hearing. It's a galactic lozenge, okay. That's what I'm hearing. It's medicine. It's like a galactic medicine. Really tune into that, imagine it's there, and allow it just to do its job. You don't need to know how it does its job. It helps to do its job. Okay. Someone says, I'm in the area affected and I would like to know when it's going to go away. Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. If I was there, I'd be asking the same question. It's going to go away when it's going to go away. What do I mean by that? It's there for a reason. It's there because of all the things that I've said in this video up to now. And if it wasn't New York, it could be somewhere else. It could be London. It could be London less so, maybe, just because we haven't got the... we don't have wildfires there. We have other issues probably with the water probably going forward. But if it wasn't there, it'd be somewhere else. I am seeing Paris potentially affected this summer by smoke, and I'm actually going to be going to Paris this summer myself, so I might experience some of that. But we've got the serpent here, as I was talking about that. The rainbow serpent rising as well around our world to try to help us. We've also got the energy of the medicine wheel. There's definitely the shamanic energy that can come in to lend its hand now. What is the lesson in this happening? Hopefully I've answered that. Somebody says, I live in the area where the air quality is the worst and it honestly looks like the apocalypse. I can still smell the burning from indoors and the atmosphere is yellow and orange. Yeah, try to stay out of fear. It's easy for me to say that. It's not outside my window, I understand. But I've been asked to come on to try and quell people's fear today. Isn't it interesting how colour, because I'm a colour therapist, colour has a very dualistic meaning. It always does. There's no such thing as a good colour or bad colour. Colour, you see, because a yellow-orange sky at another time would be a beautiful sunset that everybody was out there taking photographs of. The yellow-orange sky at the moment is being photographed for different reasons. The negative side of yellow is fear. Think about what it's representing in terms of the colours that are actually out there. The negative side of yellow is fear, anxiety, not being in our power, being in our ego. The negative side of orange, well, not negative, but the other connotation to orange rather than just the bliss and enlightenment, is shock, abuse, trauma. So if you look at the colours through those lights, and start to see that that's what the colours are also trying to convey, all of the abuse, all of the trauma, all of the fear, all of the anxiety, how much of that there is in the world. Maybe the smoke is coming in to try to help lift some of that. Not easy days. Hi Amanda, hope you're doing well. My question for Metatron is, are the fires a result of the disrespect towards Mother Gaia and the First Nations, i.e. Gaia fighting back, or the result of actions such as CC? It's both, as I've said. Thank you for your question. Right, my partner's dad... Sorry, camera went too hot again. My partner's dad is stuck indoors in New York. He says it's so very hot and close. Says he feels like it's drowning without being in water. That's exactly the message I brought through a little while back, wasn't I? That it's literally like we're not in touch with our breath. We're not in touch with our rhythm. I have questions, but sadly can't be asked. I don't know why you say that, Fiona. Anyway, well, thank you. Skiing being a question might be to remind us why we need the Amazon rainforest. Today, that bill in Brazil is there something happening in Brazil with a bill regards the Amazon rainforest? Thank you so much for reminding me of that. Absolutely. Just after that other comment with somebody's father saying he can't breathe, feels like he can't breathe, he's drowning, he can't breathe. Look what's happening to the rainforests. Do we care? And yeah, it matters. Palm oil. Look at things like that. From memory, I can't remember off the top of my head. My girls always used to like, for example, Nutella, you know, the chocolate spread. I think that's full of palm oil. We try not to never buy that anymore. It's just a little thing. We buy other chocolate spread that hasn't got palm oil in it, because palm oil is one of the things that's also causing deforestation. All these little things, if enough people do it, add up to big things. It says, indeed unprecedented. Would it be that the size and impact is much larger than nature intended? No, I'm hearing, no. Is this going to last all summer every year now? I think we're in for a rough summer. I'm not going to lie and try and fluff it out here. Praying for rain, Frank says. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I'd like to pull some cards at this point. Ada says, I think the worst air quality is happening in Chile, where thousands of people have to keep at home because of chemical pollution caused by an exceedance in sulfur dioxide emissions. Please send prayers too. The government is acting so viciously against our environment, but yes, they want to implement environmental regulations while still permitting this ecocide in favour of big mining corporations. Sending prayers to all affected around this planet. Thank you for bringing Chile's energy in. There's no easy answers with any of this, guys. We've just got to be there for each other as much as we can. The air quality around the Ottawa area is really bad, Andrea says. As well, wearing N95 masks outside. I drew the air card. Yeah, that's the one I just showed, Andrea. The irony is that we finally get to summer here in Canada and we have to stay indoors. Metatron, is this a cleansing? Yes, it is. The rattle, I need to look up what this is about. That card was on the bottom of the deck earlier and we've got it again. It wanted to come with this card earlier, the rattle. Let me just have a little look. Card 43. This is turning into a bit like a live, but you're not with me. But I'm sorry, it's just I had to just get this done today. But we're going to carry on. The rattle is the spirit caller carrying the shaman's prayer to the four directions. The body of the rattle is like the earth spinning on its axes. With the aid of the rattle, the medicine woman instills a desired destiny in her future, closing with the prayer. Great Spirit, may your will be done. The rattle guides us to pray for all the earth, not just for our personal needs. When we offer our prayers for the highest good of all, everything we need is provided to us. The rattle comes to invite you to work with the tools of spirit. You are consciously stepping into partnership with the divine. This is the time for courageous deeds. Do not let your hesitation get in the way of your expression. Another message I'm just getting coming in here from Metatron is we have lived, unless you're in your 80s, 90s watching me, most of us have lived in a time, or unless you're in Ukraine or Syria or somewhere like that where there's been terrible wars, or parts of Africa, most of us have lived in times of relative peace. I mean, there's always a war going on, but most of us haven't been, we've had, you might not like what I'm about to say, but an easier ride than other generations. We haven't been sent off to wars. We haven't had a great famine or plague, unless you're in parts of Africa, etc. We've had it quite comfy. And there's a reminder here from Spirit that the souls that came at this time to be on this planet, the ones that are watching me here, are very advanced, old, wise souls. And we came for difficult times. We didn't come just to sit and have a picnic on the beach. We've been doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. But these times that are coming are not for the faint-hearted. But we're made for these times, basically. We are just made for these times. Right, I'm going to end with two questions from Facebook, which I haven't looked at yet. Let's see what we can get from there. And then I'm going to love and leave you. And please be there for each other in the comments. Okay. As I said that, Tracy has just emailed me. It's come in. Somebody's sent us an email today about the violet dragon. So let's bring the energy of the violet dragon in to help with all of this as well, which is here. You see, one of the things that I channeled when I brought this energy through, the violet dragon, I called it the Master Clearance and Dragon Defense Spray. Bit of a long-worded title, but that's what I was told to call it, Master Clearance and Danger Defense Spray. And one of the purposes I was told that this spray has is to help clear the path for us ahead. Now, dragons can fly in the air, they can also be of the earth. And I feel as though this dragon wants to help keep you safe, because the truth is there are dangers out there. If you're in some of these cities right now, there are dangers right outside your window. The air is dangerous. So allow this dragon that comes in with the violet ray to transmute the air, feeling this is one of our greatest allies, as well as summoning the Platonic Solids, the elements, the rain, channeling the fire energy within ourselves, the violet dragon. It's as though it's helping to remove some of the dangers. Now, I have to say what I'm about to say with a clause, as it were. I can't prove what I'm about to say. I'm just going to put it out there as a question. Can this help us to remove some of the nanoparticles from the air, from the pollution? I don't know, but it's worth a go, guys, isn't it? Set the intention. Set the violet dragon to it. I'm going to put the link to this spray below. I think it is actually our top-selling spray at the moment. And maybe it's born for these times. You probably can't see because it's on a silver sticker, but the image of this dragon is pretty similar to the dragon that many of you are seeing in the volcano lava from Hawaii as well. Okay, right, sorry, I just got distracted there by that email that came in via Trace. Let me just see. I'm going to take two. Jackie, I'm in New Jersey and it's a very surreal experience. The winds pick up, the smoke blows in heavily in the afternoon. My question is this like a huge smudging to clear the energy of the affected areas? I've said yes to that. I'm so impressed by the amount of birds singing. Yes, I mean, even here, I can't believe the birds and the resiliency of the wildlife that are dealing with this. It's very frightening to think this will be our new normal if we don't find a way to heal Mother Earth. So I decided yesterday to just keep blessing and healing because that's why I'm here. Thank you for speaking about this. Thank you, Jackie. You're absolutely doing the right thing. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your guidance. And thank you for reminding us of the resilience of nature, the birds, ourselves. And I'm seeing that little hedgehog again. Okay, one more thing. Okay, slightly deviating, but somebody's saying, how do we prevent the flooding in certain parts of the world? Go to the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto if you haven't before for the answer to that question. That's a whole other video and I'm getting a bit tired now, so I'm not going to answer that here. But this is a good starting point, this video, and I think we've already gone on for quite a long time. I'm going to end with Sandra's quote, Sandra's post. She says, maybe it's a great wake-up call that we all have to be in balance with nature. Yes, absolutely. If not, well, nature will survive. But all those too many humans on this planet, maybe not. We have to get reawakened. It's a hard way, but hope there comes a higher elevated human respect to the earth, the water and animals. That becomes everything more calm and peaceful on earth. Thank you, Sandra. Yes, I understand what you're trying to say there. This is a wake-up call. This is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call, whatever you think is causing it. The answer is to stand strong in our strength, in our power, in our connection to Mother Earth, in our connection to the elements, in our connection to each other. To do what we can individually And if we all do that, we start to tip the balance. I'm going to leave it there for today. I send you my love. I send you my light. Please be supportive of each other in the comments. And let's raise the vibration high. Take great care. I'm sure I'll be coming back to this subject again this summer. Okay, lots of love. Bye-bye for now. Bye.